Hi everybody, I'm Sarah Morris, your career coach, and today we're going to talk about how to ace a job interview. Now, I asked a group of 8,000 HR professionals what their favourite interviewing techniques were, and their answer to me was overwhelmingly that they like to use competency-based questions. And I'm going to take you through today how to prepare for a competency-based job interview using a technique called the STAR technique. So let's get started. Number one, you're obviously going to research the company. So you're going to go on the website and look in detail about what they do, their size, and just the basic things about them. And you can also go on things like glassdoor.com, where employees have made reviews about them, and that'll give you a bit more of an in-depth look at what they do and what it's like to work there. Number two, you're going to plan your approach to the interview. So you want to make sure just the basic things like you're dressed properly, you want to plan out what you're going to dress, like you're going to look at the map and find out exactly where you're going to go and how long it's going to take you to get there and how you're going to get there and how you're going to leave time. And you want to make sure that you give a good impression right from the time you enter the door, or enter their property, in fact, even beyond the door. So even when you're speaking to the receptionist or the security or whoever you come to first, you want to be super polite, super positive, and just a really pleasant person to meet. So make sure that you're giving the right impression from the beginning and sort of how you hold yourself and what you wear. And you want to make sure that when you enter the interview room and you meet the people who are interviewing you, you look them in the eye, you give them a nice, strong handshake. No one likes a weak handshake, it's a strong handshake. And you just say something like, hi, how are you, how's your day, or something along those lines. So just being super friendly and super nice. And if you're getting really nervous about the idea of the job interview, one way you can prepare for that is to just make sure that you take some really deep breaths before you go in. So breathe in for a count of 4, perhaps hold for 4, and breathe out. And if you can breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth, that'll really help. That actually is scientifically proven to bring on the relaxation response in your body and calm your nerves down, literally. So if you can take, say, 3 or 4 deep breaths, breathe in for 4, hold, breathe out for 4, in through your nose, out through your mouth, before you go in, or even when you're preparing and planning for it and you're feeling nervous, then that's really going to help you. So let's move on to the type of questions they're going to ask you. And as I've already said, that interviewers these days are overwhelmingly using competency-based questions. So what are competency-based questions? Competency-based questions are questions that are going to ask you to give an example of a time when you did something that demonstrates a particular competency that they want. So there are some very common competencies that companies like, for example, communication skills, organizational skills, working to deadlines, influencing people, all these sorts of things. And I'm going to give you a list of those in the description, by the way. So with those questions, I'm going to give you a standard way to answer each one, which is a recognized technique that helps you display exactly what you need to and helps the recipient, the interviewer, hear what they want to hear. So for each of those questions, you're going to think of a situation that was relevant, a task that you had to do, an activity that you actually did for that task, and the result, hopefully a positive result that came out of it. So let's say the question was to show an example in the past of when you've shown leadership skills. So the situation could have been, for example, that in the marketing department, they had a problem whereby people weren't really reading the newsletter that they were putting out to their clients. So the task was that you decided you were going to look at how you could improve the number of people reading the newsletter. And the activity, what you did, was you redesigned the newsletter and you added some software into it that meant that people clicked on it and read it for longer than currently was the case. And the result was that the newsletter had a 25% increase in their open rate of the emails, and more clients signed up to their free demo or whatever it is. So that's a clear methodology of showing the situation, the task, the activity, and then the result. And when you talk about the result, do use figures if you can, like percentage or something like that. So that's how you're going to answer those competency-based questions. How are you going to prepare for them? I'm going to show you now a method that I would recommend you prepare for them, and that's to actually have a sheet of these potential competencies. You can see that in front of you now. And listed are the different competencies that companies really like to look for. And in the next column, I've put some potential questions. Of course, there could be many other questions, but these are just some potentials. And in the final column, this is where you're going to think of some real examples from your past where you can meet those competencies. As inside each, I've then put the STAR technique. So I've listed situation, task, activity, and result for each. And I've put this document down in the description so you can simply download it, open it, and use it for your own job interview and put in your own past experiences and how you might answer these questions. And then you're going to have to just read through and try to sort of remember what you've put in for each one. And finally, the way that you're going to prepare for a job interview is you're going to prepare the questions that you're going to ask the organisation that's interviewing you. After all, an interview is a two-way street. You'll just as much want to find out if the job's the right fit for you as they want to find out if you're the right fit for them. So there's a technique for that too, and that's called a funnel technique. And what you're going to do is make sure that you've got 3 tiers of questions to ask. The top tier being the most broad questions about the company, and the lower tier being the most specific questions you can ask about the company. And make sure that you've got at least one question for each tier, and I'd say broad, medium, and narrow, and I'll just give you an example of that. So a broad question about the company might be, what is the company employee turnover? Or what does the company offer employees in the way of professional development? That's a broad question. Then a medium question in terms of breadth and generality could be, for example, could you take me through an average day in the role I might be doing? So that's more role specific, it's getting a bit more specific. And then a more specific and to the point question might be, what are the next steps now? Or when will I hear from you next? Or that sort of thing. So you're going to be general, medium, and then quite specific about the questions you ask. And make sure you have at least 3 questions to ask, 1 from each tier. So that's it. That's how you're going to plan for a competency-based job interview. I hope it's helpful. Don't forget that Excel sheet is down in the description. Please subscribe. Please join my Facebook group, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.